can't believe I'm saying this, but Mike Trout actually took a little shot at Major League Baseball. Yeah, it was very subtle, but you know what? He very rarely speaks, so when he does, I pay attention. We're going to go ahead and talk about that in just a second. But before we do, breaking news, Ryan Braun might be looking to retire. In my opinion, going back the last couple years, he probably is the most hated player in all of baseball, right next to Manny Machado when he was on the Dodgers because he was stepping on cleats and everything else. But Ryan Braun, to me, the fact that he stole an MVP from Matt Kemp, he was on roids, he lied about it. Then his buddy Aaron Rodgers comes out and says that I will bet my entire salary that Ryan Braun is innocent. Well, come to find out, Ryan Braun was in fact not innocent. So if he retires, I mean, maybe the game will miss him, maybe the city of Milwaukee. But aside from that, I guess, c'est la vie is really all I can say. Moving on over, we have a few free agent signings. We have Adam Duvall going to the Marlins on a one-year deal worth $5 million. That is a steal. The fact that the Red Sox are paying Hunter Renfroe $3 million when they could have gotten Adam Duvall, they should have just waited because in his last 96 games, he has 26 home runs and 850 plus OPS. From 2017 to 2018, he was in the top 95 percentile in defense, and also do not forget in 2019 he was in the top 88 percentile in sprint speed. So realistically, he's kind of a four-tool athlete because the only thing that he can't do is make solid contact consistently. His one bugaboo is getting on base. But to me, I haven't seen a steal like this since the Cardinals took Arenado and Cash for pretty much yellow starburst. Like, what were the Rockies doing? That was a complete steal. Now, one more story about the Marlins was the fact that Garrett Cooper might be on his way out, and of all teams, he might be heading to the Dodgers. If this happens, this is going to be one of the more sneaky acquisitions of the entire offseason because he's been a monster over the last season and a half. I mean, honestly, take a look at his stats over the last 2 years combined. That's 20 plus home runs, 70 plus RBIs, and not a huge amount of games. So I really think that he would be an addition that the Dodgers weren't really looking for, but he kind of fell into their lap. Maybe this means Justin Turner is not going to return. I don't know if that fiasco at the end of the World Series where he's on the field, even though he just tested positive for you know what, it was kind of a weird situation, and maybe the Dodgers don't want to deal with it. I don't know, but Garrett Cooper could be on his way out, and he could be in that Dodger blue very soon. The Giants have had a sneaky good offseason as well. They add Jake Mcgee, who had an insane 2020 season with a 14.6 strikeouts per nine, and he only had a 1.3 walks per nine. So he was K'ing people up. He wasn't walking guys, and he had a 2.66 ERA. Over the course of his career, he's kind of had a roller coaster career, if you will. He has 2 good seasons, then 2 bad ones, then 1 good season, then 1 bad one. But for the most part, I would say this is a welcome addition to the San Francisco Giants, who shocked the world just a year ago. I thought that they were going to be a bottom feeder, and then guess what? Brandon Belt and Donovan Solano, they have career years. Now they have Joey Bart, who's going to come up and, maybe play catcher, but then they said Buster Posey is going to be the full-time catcher. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but between Jake Mcgee, you have Tommy LaStella, Alex Wood, John Brebbia, and Anthony Desclafani. Is that how you say his name? Desclafani. I've never understood how to say his name correctly, but that is a really good offseason, and I have to tip my cap because they could have just rolled over and continue to be average. No, they have improved on pretty much every front, and same with the Detroit Tigers. I have to tip my cap. They just recently signed Renato Nunez. I don't know why the Orioles ever released this guy. Maybe it's to make room for Mountcastle. Again, I'm not really too sure because in 52 games, he had 12 home runs and an 816 OPS. That is very respectable. That is solid offensive numbers. They've also re-signed Jonathan Scope. They signed Wilson Ramos and Robbie Grossman. Robbie Grossman had a breakout 2020 season as well. Wilson Ramos is coming off a season in which he was injured and didn't really play too much for the Mets, but he's known to be an offensive catcher, and maybe that's what they're going for. He could be a backup. He could be a guy that starts 80 to 100 games. That's going to be my prediction. But just like the Giants, the Tigers, they've had a few acquisitions where it makes me think, they're looking pretty solid, and I have to tip my cap because, again, they could stay bad or they could stay average, but instead they chose not to do that, and they have improved, and I love that. Thank you to the Giants, and thank you to the Tigers. Well done. Now, one more player I want to talk about before we deep dive into the Mike Trout calling out MLB situation, Brandon Kinsler. For whatever reason, he is now with the Phillies. I don't know why the Marlins lowballed him, because he was pretty solid in 2020 and he was really good in the postseason. But he had a strange season, I'm not going to lie. So he had a 2.2 ERA, which is amazing. He had 12 saves. That's also really good when you're only playing a 60-game season. But he had a 5 FIP. If you don't know what FIP means, to pretty much summarize it, it's how good you are at striking people out and limiting the walks and home runs. So he walked a ton of people. He wasn't striking people out. So the Marlins kind of thought to themselves, well, we're not going to resign this guy because the advanced analytics kind of show that he is not as good as his ERA is showing. So they allowed him to walk, and he signed with the Phillies. And the reports are saying that Bryce Harper, who used to be teammates with him in Washington, really pushed for this to get done. So Bryce Harper is having an impact on JT Realmuto. He's having an impact on Brandon Kinsler. And also, you might not have remembered, but I'm pretty certain that he had an impact on the Phillies drafting Bryson Stott as their future shortstop, because they hang out almost every single day. I'm good friends with Bryson. I know that him and Bryce have a really good relationship. So, I mean, Harper, heck, when his career is all said and done, maybe he wants to sign up as a GM, because so far he's been pretty solid at getting people on his team that he wants. So the Phillies have added Brandon Kinsler. They've gotten Hector Rondon, who used to be a stud for the Chicago Cubs, Archie Bradley, and then Neftali Feliz. What the heck happened to Neftali Feliz? Do you remember a couple years ago when he was a rookie, he was setting save records and striking people out left and right? He was disgusting, but all of a sudden, he kind of vanished. I don't think that he's pitched in the big leagues since 2017, and I'm not sure if that's because of injury. I'm not sure if that's because he was bad and they sent him down to the minors. I don't really know exactly what happened. He could have been suspended for all I know. I don't think that's the case. Maybe you guys can update me in the comment section down below. But the Phillies, just like the Tigers and just like the Giants, have had a decent offseason. They're not a first place team by any stretch of the imagination, but right now they are in fact better than a year ago. All right, so the Mike Trout situation is just so funny to me. I mean, baseball has kind of become a comedy show in regards to Robert Manfred and how he's conducted himself. So David Price put out a tweet, and this is in regards to the video that we released yesterday, the fact that MLB is now changing the ball to try and deaden it so it doesn't travel as far, so they can try and limit home runs. David Price came out with a tweet and said, "Did I see MLB is slightly deadening the baseball? I thought MLB said it hadn't been juiced, LOL. Pitchers knew all along. Baseball's had a different feel and a different sound. Happy to see they're attempting to go back to the regular baseball." So I'm pretty certain that Justin Verlander is a happy camper, because he has been the biggest advocate of juiced baseballs and trying to get rid of them, and the fact that Major League Baseball was 100% hiding something. And now with this tweet from Mike Trout with laughing emojis and crying emojis, he is pretty much saying that Robert Manfred and Major League Baseball, in fact, were caught with their hand inside the cookie jar. They were caught in 4K, as everyone is saying nowadays. And when Mike Trout speaks again, I listen. He is confirming what David Price is saying, like, hey, they got caught, they were lying, and we're gonna go ahead and make sure that we stick it to them. They are not going to get away with it. And to be honest with you, I mean, I'm not sure if other people saw it, because for whatever reason, baseball just does not do a good job at marketing their players. I put up a tweet a couple days ago of Ronaldo with an insane amount of followers. Then you have Tom Brady, then you have LeBron James, and then there's Mike Trout with 1.8 million followers. So maybe this is a sign that David Price and Mike Trout are gonna be using their Twitter more often and become more marketable. And this is just another blemish on the resume of Robert Manfred, who said that, you know, nothing was really changed, nothing nefarious was happening behind the scenes. But now they're trying to deaden the baseball even though nothing changed. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Just to recap, Ryan Braun is looking to retire. Adam Duvall is going to the Marlins, and then there's rumbles that Garrett Cooper might be on his way to the Dodgers. Jake McGee goes to the Giants. Renato Nunez signs with the Tigers, and then Brandon Kinsler, a former Marlin, is going to the Phillies on a minor league deal, but he's getting paid more money as opposed to the major league deal that the Marlins offered. So really weird situation. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there, and peace out.